Hi and welcome to my channel where I make dishes inspired by some of my favorite video game characters. Today's dish is inspired by Junko and Oshima from the Danganronpa series, and we are making a Des-Pear Tarte Tatin. I could try and sound really impressive and claim that a lot of deep thought went into a dish for Junko. I could say I racked my brain for a long time and say she would love sweets but nothing too heavy. I could tell you that her queenly persona would love to order one of her ultimate despairs to make her this fancy dish and feed it to her, and those statements would all be slightly true. But ultimately, I just have to admit that, come on, despair. If making your own puff pastry, we'll start with that, but you can use store-bought pastry dough. We'll cube unsalted butter and let it soften to room temperature. Then in a large bowl, we'll whisk together all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, and salt. With a pastry cutter, fork, or our hands, we'll work the softened butter into the flour until the butter is in small pea-sized pieces. We'll then stir in sour cream with a fork until a dough forms, and we'll flatten the dough out into a small circular disc. We'll wrap it up with plastic wrap and place it in the fridge for at least an hour before using. We'll then slice our pears into 1/8 wedges and preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. In a 10-inch oven-proof skillet, preferably a cast iron pan, we'll stir together some granulated sugar and water, then cook on medium heat without stirring until the mix turns golden in color. We'll then stir in unsalted butter and continue stirring occasionally until it once again turns golden. We can then stir in some lemon juice and place our pears into the sugar mixture in a design of our choice. We'll cook the pears for 3 to 5 minutes until nice and soft, then we'll turn off the heat. We'll make sure our pastry dough is rolled out to a 12-inch diameter circle and then place over the skillet, tucking in the edges of pastry inside the edges of the pan. We can then slide it into the oven to bake for 30 to 40 minutes until the pastry is cooked and golden brown. We'll let the tart cool for 15 minutes before running a knife along the edges of the pan to make it easier to invert. We'll grab a large serving plate or a baking sheet and place on top of the skillet before carefully inverting our tart. From here, we can serve with ice cream or whipped cream, and finally take a bite of the biggest, most awesome, most epic dessert in kitchen history. The full recipe can be found below. Feel free to like if you want a bite, follow for more geeky treats, and comment what foods Junko reminds you of. Thanks for following along.